Hi and welcome to Lois and Morgana Davidson Art. It's Lois here, and today I'm going to be talking about size. Now the question is size important in watercolour painting? Is it better to paint large or small? Is it better to paint small than large? There will be a two-part workshop showing this and talking about it in lots and lots of detail over on my Patreon page. So if you're interested in that, follow the link. The workshop Wednesday over there is an in-depth tutorial, and it will be discussing ways in which you can keep your paintings really loose and expansive, expressive and fresh, even when you paint on very small pieces of paper. Now this dramatic mountain scene is painted on 1/8 imperial sheet, which is quite a small piece for me. I normally paint double that size, but over on Patreon I'll be talking about ways to keep the drama in your painting even when you paint small. So back to the thorny question of, is size important? Well, I would argue that size isn't important. As the old saying goes, it's what you do with it that counts. So any size of paper to paint on is right if it feels right for you. I think the important thing to think here is never feel that it's better to paint landscapes on large sheets of paper and that you need to work up to that. If you're happy painting, if you're happy painting on small sheets of paper, then that's perfectly fine, because the important thing about art is we're creating art for ourselves and not for the expectations of other people. And we want to do something that we enjoy. So if you really enjoy painting on a small piece of paper, but you find a large piece of paper intimidating and daunting, then there's no worries, because one size is not better than the other. What's important is that we paint on the size paper on which we feel comfortable and most relaxed and happiest. And that way our paintings will be more relaxed, they'll be more expressive, because instead of worrying about the size of the paper, we are focusing on what we want to express and what we want to say on the page. And conversely, if you love painting on large sheets of paper, but feel that you maybe should paint smaller, because maybe if you painted smaller you could sell more paintings because they'd be easier to ship, etc., etc. That shouldn't be the motive for your painting. If you enjoy painting large, then your larger paintings will be more expansive and more expressive, and they will have more of you in them as you paint. So never be constrained in your style of painting or your size of painting by expectations that you think others have of you, or by expectations that other people do have of you. So remember, whatever genre you like to paint in, it's your art, so it's your rules. You paint the way that you want to, and that's really important, especially for beginners. Sometimes they don't realise that they can express themselves however they like. It seems like there's this hierarchy that one progresses from small tentative beginners paintings to large expansive expert paintings, but it's not the case. Somebody may start this size, and this size here is 1/8 imperial sheet, slightly smaller than A4. And then they may find that they want to paint smaller. So as they learn and progress, they'll begin to work on smaller pieces of paper and become experts as sort of miniature landscape painters. So in my opinion, whatever size you are comfortable and most relaxed painting at, that's the size for you. And of course, that doesn't mean that's set in stone. That may just be for the time being. You may decide that you want to try painting much smaller, or you may decide that you want to try painting on larger sheets at some point in your journey. And that's fine, of course. But the important thing is to feel free to express yourself on paper in exactly the way that you want to. That's going to be how you'll discover and develop your own personal style in a completely unique way, by following your own ideas, your own intuition, and by making the sort of decisions about your work practice along the lines of how relaxed you feel about things like the size of your paper and the size of your brushes. A quick thing to say about brush size: even if you're working small for loose landscape painting, it's a really good idea to choose the largest brushes possible for the size of painting that you are doing. That will keep your brush work fresher, and it'll keep the painting a lot more expressive. So here you can see that I have painted loosely a sky and some mountains using large brushes, and I've laid some plastic food wrap over the bottom of the mountains, because this should give me hopefully some wonderful textures when it dries. So peeling it off, you can see the textures, and even on this small piece of paper, with these billowing clouds sort of looming up over the mountain tops, and the texture on the mountains, and the expansive brushwork, and the lovely light and shadow and dry brush effects, and the texture given to us from the cling film across the base with strata and movement and life, is very expansive and expressive. So removing the masking tape from the painting, just to give it a nice clean white border, which gives us a chance to see it with fresh eyes and to see it almost as if it was matted or mounted and framed. And so we can see it as a more complete image. And I hope you'll agree that it certainly doesn't look like it's been painted on a small piece of paper. The image itself is, as I say, expansive, expressive, it's dynamic, because of the style of painting that I used, and because I didn't allow myself to feel constrained and trying to paint small just because I'm painting on a small piece of paper. There's more details about that in the Patreon Workshop Wednesday tutorial. So as I say, if you're interested in that, please follow the link below. And that talks a lot more about ways to keep even small paintings really loose, dramatic and dynamic. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Please leave me a comment. I read them all, even if I can't reply to all of them. I'd love to know what you think and what sort of size of paper you prefer to paint on. And if you've got any tips for anyone else there, that could be really useful. So please leave us a like and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and click on the bell icon and you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. And thank you so much to everyone that supports us on Patreon. We really do appreciate you. Thank you again, and I'll see you again soon. Take care and happy painting. Bye.